Welcome, good morning. Welcome to LettiSpeaks. Today we will be taking a look at the new moon. Today the new moon has arrived, and so we want to take a look at any energy, any information around this new moon that will be coming in, and what spirit would want us to know about this new moon. And so my name is Letty. Welcome. Thank you for stopping by. If you are new, I invite you to like, share, comment if anything resonates with you. Also subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified when any new content is posted, when any lives happen, right? If you are not new, like, share, comment, right? If you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe, especially if you've returned. There's obviously something that may be drawing you to my energy, and so subscribe. Thank you. So today let's take a look at the energies around the new moon that's coming through. Yesterday I did a reading for each of the signs on how Saturn retrograde will be affecting each of the signs. So if you haven't had a chance to go over and look at that, go ahead and look at that. Definitely has some good information for us, as this Saturn retrograde will be gracing us with its presence for like the next 4 months or so. And so, yeah, if you find that any of the, this is my morning voice, if you find that any of the readings don't quite resonate and you're looking for a personal reading, I can do that. All you have to do is go down to my description box where my calendar is. Go ahead and schedule a reading with the calendar there. I'd be happy to connect with you in a personal way. And so let's take a look and see what the new moon will be bringing in for us. Today I will be using one of my oracle decks, my Oracle of Portals, which I have already grown to like. It's fairly new, but I really like this. And then also my Star Tarot deck. And then I'll be using my Unknown Tarot deck for clarifications when necessary. And so let's get started. Again, thank you for stopping by. So, all right, Spirit, talk to us. Talk to us. Okay. So to start off, it looks like for this new moon, we will be dealing with energies around possible perception, seeing things in an etheric light for this new moon. It may be bringing in very elusive energies with the Wheel of Fortune and Other World Oracle card. And so with the Wheel of Fortune and Other World Oracle card, I know the Wheel of Fortune is really an energy that brings light to things unfolding naturally and recognizing things that pertain to cycles, the normal cycles of life, or as we would call it, destiny or fate, things that were meant to happen. It represents the ever-changing cycles of life. And it's a very beautiful card, very colorful card, lots of energy, lots of symbolism as well. It just really reminds me that life is always moving forward. It's constantly revolving, you know, with ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of life. And we are subject to deal with that which life hands us, right? And it's constantly changing. Every moment is different. And so this could be around those types of energies, and it may cause us to feel at times like we have become complacent or we're stuck because of certain types of energy that we're in at any point in time, specifically things that are not feeling good to us or things that are not looking like they are within our best interest or in our favor, right? Things like bad luck or misfortunes, things that stay way too long. And it's like, okay, how long will I have to deal with this? Like the wheel brings in that kind of energy. But it's also understanding too that this is bringing attention to different levels of reality and understanding that we are only looking at it many times from one particular level, one particular perspective, but there's a huger picture at large. There's a huger view of things that are happening on many different levels, and some would even say in many different lifetimes, right? It's almost like the energy of karma, right? Everything is interconnected, and what's happening right now may in fact have something to do with a past lifetime or someone that came before you, right? Multi-levels and many lifetimes. It's playing out in a bigger picture. And it's understanding, again, it's constantly moving. Eventually it will shift. Sometimes it's hard to see that because we're stuck in this one moment and it feels uncomfortable. Or we're stuck in what we feel like should be happening, right? But it's understanding that the Wheel of Fortune is almost like this, it's almost like this game of life that can't be really controlled. Like there is no guarantees. And how each of us decide to play out our fate is really, it's up to us. And it's also understanding too that there is a higher power that's handling things, and we're never given more than we can handle. It's understanding that too. So there's many different perspectives coming into play. But a couple of things that's standing out with this card. Let's see. It's very colorful, first of all. In each of the corners, as we talk about not giving too much or more than we can handle, in each of the corners are represented 4 different angels, right? It's almost like there is always someone that's watching the wheel and how it's affecting. Those angels are representative of the archangels in the 4 corners in the image on this card, and they all are holding a star in their hand. And that star symbolizes their guidance, the help that they're offering. And I'll see if I can let you see that. They're all holding a star. And the bottom right is Michael, Archangel Michael, bringing protection. The element there is it's fire energy. It's aspected in Leo. On the bottom left is Archangel Uriel, bringing peace. And that element is earth, and its astrological aspect is in Taurus. On the top left is Archangel Raphael, bringing healing. The element is earth, aspected in Aquarius. And then the top right is Archangel Gabriel, bringing resurrection. And that element is water, astrologically aspected in Scorpio. And the planet associated with the Wheel of Fortune is Jupiter, which is associated with Sagittarius. And this is really talking about, Jupiter brings in the energy really of luck and fortune, expansiveness. And this is associated with the 3rd chakra. So this could be how we are showing up in the world, how we are going out and realizing our visions and our potential in the world. It is our personal power, exercising personal power. And so this may be what this new moon is bringing in. This is what's sticking out to me. Also, what's sticking out is there's animals right around the wheel. If you can see that, I see a bear, a wolf. Wolves have been coming out a lot lately in my readings. There's an eagle, and then I believe a buffalo at the very top, a white buffalo. And so these animals are a part of the Native American medicine wheel. In the east, on the wheel, we have the eagle, which is masculine energy, illumination, spirit. It's like the golden door. In the south, we have the coyote. I thought it was a wolf. It's a coyote, which brings in a very youthful, childlike energy, the energy of innocence and faith. In the west is the black bear. That's feminine energy, which is very introspective and emotional. In the north is the white buffalo. This is wisdom and gratitude, right? And so these are energies that very well may be affecting us during the time of this new moon, as we're actually looking at the cycles around the moon, which is also part of this card. As you look between the animals, it shows different cycles of the moon. Full to new, to waxing, to waning, right? And these cycles represent life. We were just talking about that, the cycles of life that are ever changing, being constantly in motion, right? And so let's take a look. Very interesting. The Wheel of Fortune. Cycles of life. We're talking about destiny and faith. And fate, not faith. Fate, F-A-T-E. And then our oracle card was Other World. Now, Other World is actually beckoning, right? It's inviting. When we talk about spirit or spirits on, the other side, and being able to actually interact with you on this side. And so during this new moon, there could be interaction in that way. It could be spirit, it could be, source having a conversation with you. For those of you that are believing and connected with ancestral energies, those that have passed on, or even those that have come before you, this could be also the type of interaction that will be coming forward. It's very interesting. I know today is the new moon, but leading into this, I have been very active and in touch with my ancestors, and I've felt the presence very strong for the last couple of days. One in particular was grandma presence, has been very strong and coming through, giving comfort and solace, and giving a bit of direction and encouragement. And so that may be definitely something that will be coming through, is communicating, or it's trying to. And so that may be something to be open to and pay attention to during this full moon. This is the energy that's coming through. And it's important to understand that it's not something to be fearful of or shy away from. We're talking about coming into and accepting. When we're looking at our third chakra, the solar plexus chakra, we're talking about our personal power in the world, showing up in the world and feeling confident in what it is that we are able to do, right? This is part of that. For some of you, there may be a direct line of communication opening up. And for some of you that may be questioning that, right? This may come through as confirmation or validation that you, in fact, are tapped in that way. This may, in fact, be right in line as it's unfolding right here, right now, in this particular moment in time for you, confirming this particular gift, this particular thing that you have or that you've been experiencing lately. You're not, right? You're not tripping, right? Many people have this experience, and so, and it could be telling you, that someone has been trying, to come through and connect with you or get your attention. This could also, I know for some people, this gift comes through to be kind of like an assistance to escort or to usher people over into the light that may not have fully crossed over, right? And I hope this isn't sounding too woo-woo, but if you know, you know. And if you get it, you just get it. If you don't, that's okay too. And so if it's not resonating, or if you're not sure why this is coming out for you, we're talking about other world. We're talking about realizing that there is more than just what we can see and what we can feel and what we can taste and what we can hear, right? There is a whole spiritual world that is very present and available and just as real as everything that we experience in the 3D. And so there's some ways to be open and, be receiving. In this particular case, I feel like Archangel Michael can be invited in as like a surrounding, guiding light of protection, right? During times where you may feel these influences coming towards you or strong, you could call out, for a sense of protection, divine protection. And so that's what's coming through. Let's see. I'm going to get some clarification on this. So we have the Wheel of Fortune and Otherworld. It almost feels like this is something that is unfolding quite divinely, quite naturally. It almost feels like for someone this is I want to say this is something that was divinely meant for you, because we're talking about fate and destiny. So it's almost like it could not have happened any other way. So let's see. Give us more specifics around this Wheel of Fortune. All right. If you are enjoying this, go ahead and like, share, comment if you feel led to do so. If you're new, just tapping in, make sure you hit the subscribe and go ahead and hit the bell so you'll be notified. Thank you. So we have the Ten of Cups coming out. We have the Father of Swords, which is the King of Swords. And then we also have the Daughter of Swords, which is the Page of Swords. So this does feel a little bit like it involves, kind of like it involves family. The Ten of Cups is usually associated with possibly family, but it also could be the level of energy that is being illuminated around you right now. This radiant energy that surrounds you. Your aura could be just blinging right now. And you could be overflowing with positivity as you are moving into, the new moon also talks about a perfect time to begin things and to set intention out there and to achieve goals, that you've set and placed out in the universe. And so this could be a time where you're actually pulling in very good energy around goals that you've set. I feel like for whoever I'm talking to, you carry a very magnetic energy that's very attractive right now with this Ten of Cups. And other people can really feel your light radiating very strongly from you. And Spirit is asking you not to doubt what it is that you're feeling about yourself. Don't doubt it. It's real. And you will find out, because people will tell you that. People will let you know. And so don't doubt that, whatever that is, right? Build on that. It's being given for a purpose. Part of that purpose is what you've been called to do. You could definitely be someone who's very analytical. You could be deep diving in to find out, like, is this really real, what's happening? Like, is this true? Why is this happening? Very analytical and open. very perceptive as well. Your senses, your sixth senses could be very keen right now and very perceptive with the Father of Swords. The Father of Swords is very, he sees from every angle, like nothing misses him. Everything comes through clearly. This is also someone that has deep ties to family. So again, it's giving me that energy of some connection to family. So I feel like for some of you, you could be having, you know, this whatever this connection is that's coming through could definitely have something to do with family in some type of way, shape, or form. And this could be in a way that's bringing in some level of insight. As I was saying, how I had that experience with the grandma energy yesterday, it was to bring in a level of insight. And there was a particular message that was delivered as well. And so this is kind of the heart of what's happening during this new moon. There is a certain connection that's happening, that's being established, that Spirit wants you to know is very real and to be open to it. Yeah. And continue to be watchful. Continue to be watchful. Swords is very attentive energy. It's very open mentally and alert, right? So be alert, be watchful. Because I feel like there's going to be a lot that's going to be happening around you, that's going to be beckoning for your attention, okay? Pay attention to small details. There could be synchronicities coming across your path, delivering certain messages as well. Yeah. All right. And so, let's see. First of all, that's what's coming out first. Let's keep going and see what else comes out. So we'll keep that there. Okay, let's see. All right. So we have the Eight of Cups. All right, and so with the Eight of Cups, I'm getting, this is how Spirit would have you best use this energy coming towards you during this full new moon. So we're going to take a look at what that is. So with the Eight of Cups, I got the landing. The Eight of Cups and the landing. That's a very interesting card, the landing. So let's take a look at what Spirit is saying here. So Cups does talk about connection. It talks about possible emotional energy. It's really talking about seeking truth and being able to move right forward, to move on. In this picture, as you can see, it's talking about moving on to something else. And it really signals a time where kind of like the inner parts of ourself is shifting. And it's almost like creating uncomfortableness, right? So that we would continue to move forward. It's almost like the energy of restlessness, right? That happens within ourselves when we feel a sense of being a little imbalanced. And it leads us to that place where we feel like there's something more that we need to be pursuing. Or we may even feel a sense of being lost at times in life and needing to find direction. Or it could even show up as feeling trapped and needing to be set free from something. It's really the energy of realizing that there's something needed. This may show up also as the lack of motivation in many ways, right? And needing to really find ourselves or find our mojo again. So this card really feels like there could be like a sense that there's a situation, there's a job, a relationship, or something that is no longer fulfilling the way it used to. That's where all of this energy of restlessness is rising from, because there's no longer that sense of fulfillment that we used to get from doing what that we're doing, which is causing us to grow or be hungry for growth, or be hungry for, you know, a level of moving forward to something more. There's a stirring that's happening deep inside. And with that stirring comes the call to release something, to release whatever we're holding on to, so that we can be free to receive something more, or be free to move forward towards something more. I feel like there's like a beckoning of a journey deep within that's calling out to you, that's calling you to actually toward a higher level of consciousness in this case. And the thing with the Eight of Cups is to be open to change, be open to accept, you know, ways of transitioning that are open and available to you. And it feels very conscious oriented as well. This is a card of really going deep, digging deep within ourselves to kind of find out what else is there, what else is missing, what possibly could there be that maybe we've overlooked, right? And usually these are places many times that the ego may not want to explore, because the ego wants to stay on top. The ego wants to stay in control. It doesn't want to surrender up to any level of growth or any level of realizing that there's something more that could be more important than what we're holding right now. And it could be kind of intimidating and scary, to open to evolution, right? Because these are places that we have not allowed ourselves to explore or to question or to be open to see answers, and so it's being open to examine even the dark parts of ourselves, even the shadow sides. That's what's necessary at certain points in our life, to confront those parts and to own them, to take responsibility, and many times leading to a place of forgiveness, forgiving ourselves for not being open to address and confront those sooner. And so, taking a look at some of the symbolism in this card, I definitely feel drawn to the cups. This is cups energy. And so on this card, these cups are at the bottom of the ocean. There's 8 of them. And it's almost like there's like a cloud of fairy dust. And that represents like the energy of the past. Some of these cups are turned over, right? Those turned over cups are indicative of past situations. It could represent a past relationship or a job that, appeared to be successful in working at some point in time, but is no longer fulfilling. It looks good, but it no longer holds any significance or substance for you. And these cups being turned over is almost like the prompting of needing to seek something deeper that's going to lead to a deeper level of understanding within self. Again, another sign of the moon, right? The lunar eclipse right here. Now, the lunar eclipse is all about energy. The lunar eclipse talks about energy that leads us or moves us forward. It helps us to move on and let go of things. And then the star is what she is rising to, right? This is the energy of moving up the mountain. That rainbow at the top is representative of new gifts waiting when you decide to actually reach for something more. This is new gifts, new opportunities available to you. And the surface where the star is, this is consciousness, right? She's rising towards a greater level of consciousness. So overall, this is reaching for something more. Realizing that there's something more. And so this energy that's coming in that we just discussed with the Wheel of Fortune and other world, this energy, Spirit is intending for this to be used by realizing and being open to allow it to help you to move forward, to reach for something greater than what you currently know, than what you've currently experienced. Understand that what you've experienced this far is not it. It's not all. There's more, is what Spirit is saying. There's more. And let's see. The Oracle card was landing. I'm excited to see what this means. Because it's an interesting looking card. And it's as if you've been flying. Now it's time to come on back down to earth. Come on back down to earth. Maybe you feel like you've been swept up and, preoccupied in this whirlwind, possibly of romance and possibly of some type of excitement. Or perhaps you've even been kind of hurtling through overwhelm and busyness, or even recognizing that a change is upon you. For some of you, you may have been just kind of laid back and coasting through this energy of ease or exploration, or distracting yourself with things. Yeah, this reminds me of actually kind of taking a trip across the world. Maybe you got on a plane, and you know how you come to the place where the plane is about to land. Right before it hits the ground, things get like really shaky, right? It's almost like the energy of being untethered from earth and being put in some type of like dream-like trance. And then when you come back to reconnect with earth, it feels just a little bit bumpy, like when that happens. But once you connect with earth, once those wheels hit the earth again, then, there's that grounding that happens very quickly. And so this card brings in a reminder that sometimes we do get carried away. Sometimes we do get temporarily preoccupied or distracted, with people, or even goals can do that. Or it's the part of life, as we were talking about with the Wheel of Fortune, these seasons, and allowing things to unfold naturally. But Spirit is saying now it's time to come on back in. Come on back in. It's time for the landing, right? It's time to come back in and get grounded so that you can position yourself to take off for the next trip. Part of the landing also offers an opportunity to reassess what the trip was that you just took. Like what things went well, what things didn't go so well, some of the experiences that were beneficial or something you've learned from that trip. Like it's a time to come in and reassess and prepare for what's next. Yeah. For some of you, there is a coming back home to self right now. If you've been wrapped up in like a relationship that's kept you preoccupied, and it's almost like as you look back at it, it's like you've been under like some kind of and I'm going to use this word, some type of a spell or some type of a hex, but now you're coming back to yourself. And now that you're back, you can kind of look back and see, well, that really wasn't, the relationship for me. It really wasn't what I thought it was. And now it's time to take that and allow yourself to evolve from, the initial projections that were placed on you from other people, or even from organizations that you were a part of, or group dynamics. Yeah. To possibly prepare you for something that's actually more lasting and more aligned for your connection. For some of you, you just could be just jumping from place to place a lot. being really busy, traveling. Yeah. But this is inviting you to come on back in and ground yourself, because there's a place that you are being invited to right now. And in order for that, there needs to be a level of groundedness and balance. There needs to be a time to settle what has happened before you take off on this next invitation that Spirit is giving you, right? And so this is a time to get grounded. This is a time to come in and be guided to something that is more in line for you. And so this possible energy coming in for the new moon, this very etheric energy, it almost feels like guiding energy as well. This is how this is meant for you to use it, as a guiding light, as a grounding time, a grounding post to prepare for what's next. It almost now feels like a call, a clarion call is what I'm hearing. You know how sometimes all of the kids are out playing, and they've been out, doing their thing, and they come in and check in ever so often, but we're not in that time anymore. But when I grew up, that's how it was. Like, we were released to go and busy ourselves and go out and explore nature and engage creativity. And then we knew when it was time to come in, like around lunchtime when it was time to eat, but around dinner when the lights came on, that was like the clarion call. Or your parent would come out and call you, it's time to come in. It's like the clarion call to announce this segment is over. Now let's go ahead and move to the next segment, right? But before we do that, there's certain things that need to happen. Let's settle ourselves and realize that this transition is happening. And that may look like, okay, calm down, because you can't come in the house with all that energy, right? Calm yourself down. Go ahead and go wash your hands. Take off those, those clothes, whatever that looks like. It's the transition taking place to usher you into the next thing that Spirit has for you. And so this energy of the new moon is very elusive, very ethereal, otherworldly type of energy that's coming in. I feel like it's bringing in not only energy, but possibly messages of direction to help you hone in and understand, first of all, that there's something more, and then to help you position and ready yourself to transition over towards that something more. Okay. Let's go, keep going. This is good. I like the energies that are coming out here. So we have the Hierophant that's coming out here. And I feel like the Hierophant is definitely feeling like this is what Spirit is calling us to recognize during this new moon. This is what Spirit is calling us to recognize. Now, taking a look at the Hierophant energy, I feel like we're about to actually go deep. Let me also get an oracle card to go with the Hierophant. All right, and then I have the Underworld. The Underworld, interesting. So taking a look at what Spirit is bringing to our attention, what is it that Spirit is calling recognition to? It's the inner teacher the Hierophant represents, and also the spiritual advice as well. And this, have you ever heard of the saying, when the student is ready, the teacher arrives? It's that kind of energy. And so there are definitely times in life where we feel that sense of lost or being off kilter, being off center, being a little disconnected, and feeling like life is kind of almost like a labyrinth. Like you don't know whether to go left or right, even unsure of how to get back to where you started, get back to your true self. This is that time. This is that time to seek the Hierophant, the inner teacher, the advisor, right? Because the Hierophant reveals sacred information that's going to help to reconnect to our soul selves. The Hierophant is that gentle, it's that gentle nudge through our intuition that calls us to come a little close and listen, right? This is almost like the balance, or I'm even going to go so far to say this is like the mediator that exists between the spiritual world and the physical world as we are perceiving it. And the Hierophant actually is going to provide a path on and provide clarity on how to live a spiritual life in a physical world, right? Yeah. Lots of wisdom coming through the Hierophant. And the Hierophant represents or is represented by the number 5. The number 5 is connected to change. It also is very connected to spiritual struggle and trying to really birth the spiritual self and into expression, into natural form, right? It's almost like something's trying to break through. The number 5 is that change that's happening, that evolution, that transformation that's taking place. But the Hierophant is actually considered to be the enlightened energy. This is the energy or the person that people come to for guidance. And he's almost like he acts as the mediator between heaven and earth. This is the one that people would go to. And the one that would actually hold the energy, the knowledge, the spiritual connection, that divine love, right? To awaken us in our heart space and to enlighten us about our soul purpose. It's also known to be like the inner voice that reminds us to not just believe, but to actually implement those beliefs into our everyday life, right? And so the Hierophant beckons us to find quiet time so that we can hear. Yeah. It affirms that something deeper. The Hierophant affirms there is absolutely something deeper beckoning from the inside. And this is what Spirit is wanting us to recognize. That we need to trust our intuition and see the Creator in all things, see the divine in all things. Yeah, because knowledge is being channeled to you, and that knowledge is being channeled so that you can seek and find a balance between things that are happening spiritually and the practical world that we live in. And so what Spirit is wanting us to see through all of this, this is what we need to recognize and pay attention to during this new moon. It's the energy of the Hierophant. This inner teacher that's very open and active right now. Now, for some of you, this could actually literally be a physical person that could be speaking to you, right? Spirit is asking you to pay attention to what is being said. And so let's take a look at some of the symbolism on this card for the Hierophant. I'll give you another look here. It looks very native, very nature connected to me. And so, first of all, drawing attention to his crown. If you look, it's posted on his third eye, the crown, right here. You see that? That crown is a 5-pointed star representing man on his spiritual path. And then there's crystals on top of it, almost like stars rising up or coming down. These are kind of like conduits for this incoming intelligence, right? It's almost like the channeling, the substance of channeling coming in through his crown chakra. Around this little star is like a little band on his head. I hope you guys can see this. And it's considered to be, see right around his head, kind of like a band. That's a medicine wheel sitting on top of his crown. And that's going back to that energy of the wheel of fortune. This is representing the wheel of fortune, that ever-changing cycle that we experience in life. And then we take a look at the breastplate that he's wearing. Do you see the vest with all of these crystals in them, right? The breastplate. Now, that breastplate was used by the high priest when we're talking about Hebrew tradition during ceremonies, right? This was used. And it's very symbolic. Each of those stones in that breastplate means something, right? And so that's represented here. We also take a look at the feathers I'm seeing. It's connecting. There's lots of different feathers that have different meanings. It's amazing how much symbolism exists in the world. And I feel like a lot of this will be energies that we were talking about signs and synchronicities that the other world will be bringing forward. These are little things that Spirit will be bringing to your attention. But the eagle feathers, depending on what kind of feather it is, they could mean different things. In this case, these are eagle feathers that he's wearing, and that the eagle feather represents connection to the divine, bridging the realms between spirit and earth and balancing them and harmonizing them. He's also smoking a pipe. There's a pipe in his hand right here, if you can see that. He's smoking a pipe, which symbolizes commitment to the path. He's holding a medicine pouch as well, which is very sacred on one's journey. I would surmise that there's things within that medicine pouch that will be needed for the journey. There's just so much symbolism. That rainbow rope that we saw, rainbows have been very consistent in this message. The same, right? The same rainbow. Still talking about allowing what it is that we believe and perceive to be harmonious, and allowing those beliefs to work together. Now, the Hierophant represents the astrological sign of Taurus, which is the bull. And the bull actually stands behind the throne. If we take a look here, there's a couple of animals. And then the other side is the bear. But the bull represents earth. That's that masculine energy. It's loyalty and patience, right? And the bear on the other side represents feminine energy, which is the receptive side, as well as that introspective and dreamy energy. So it's clarifying a level of balance within him, right? Of the energies, the masculine and the feminine. And so there's so much going on in this that Spirit is wanting for you to draw out of this experience of this new moon. Things that needs your attention. The Spirit wants you to recognize these things. And these may in fact be things that you may encounter moving forward, and they may have some type of significance. So take time to notice and follow up to find out what that meaning could be, what that significance is. I can't help but take a look and be drawn to the labyrinth, because we were talking about that a minute ago, about a sense of direction and not being confused or stuck, or feeling like you're in a labyrinth and you don't know where you're going. You don't even know how to get back to yourself. As you can see, he's pointing to the entrance of that labyrinth. See his finger? He's pointing to the entrance of the labyrinth. And the labyrinth is about going within and communing with the divine. And then coming back out to the world with a new spiritual perspective, new insights to live by. And there's actually 5 stones that surround this labyrinth that are very significant as well. The heart stone has a Hebrew letter engraved on it, Shin, which means tooth, and is the crown stone that makes up the pentagram, which is the figure of man. The other 4 stones represent the 4 elements that complete that pentagram and also have Hebrew letters carved in them that represent the name of God. The dove is the Holy Spirit, bringing peace to our hearts during our journey. The roses represent passion, and the lilies represent purity, which is intertwined with symbolism of passion and desire for life and purity of heart, right? And so let's find out what it is that the underworld is trying to tell us. Spirit is definitely calling you to pay attention to what is going on around you and not to minimize anything. Everything has significance, is what Spirit is saying. Everything. There's nothing that's happening or being brought into your vicinity that does not have significance. The underworld, which is number 27 or number 9. This is what is calling to your attention. I'm looking at this picture, which is very interesting. It really feels like a very cool, doesn't it feel cool? It feels like it's breezy, very quiet, very cool. It feels like a place where you would go to get peace and to find clarity, even to, recharge and re-strengthen your resolve. It's a place where you would go to actually receive this, that wisdom, even to connect with the earth. It feels really earthy as well. And to receive like strength from earth. Now, if you've ever had the opportunity to experience what it feels like to be in a cave, or maybe you were camped in a remote area of the forest or like a jungly type of area, if you were able to tap in and get quiet and connect with nature, you know what it feels like to experience the solidity that happens when you're nourished by the earth. To get quiet and hear and connect to everything going around you, the symphony of creation and life. And the energy, that pure energy, it's powerful. And that's an energy that actually has the power to quiet our anxiety and create that space that we need mentally. And to pull us out of the energy of overthinking, right? At the same time, this actually is able to boost our systems and to help us to recalibrate and align with Earth's energy, right? And this may be an invitation to just do just that, to Really allow this energy to come in and to allow yourself to enter into this energy so that you can be connected and attuned to what Spirit is bringing your way, and receive this: the Wheel of Fortune, the Eight of Cups. Be able to really receive this and see it in action and know what it means. Like, there's so much happening right now. There needs to be a stillness, is what Spirit is saying, for you to even be able to recognize what's happening around you. The busyness, the overthinking, the anxiousness is going to be counterproductive to you being able to recognize what's going on around you and what's happening. And so this may be necessary. Going out and spending time, maybe in the woods, taking a trip out and just getting quiet. Taking off your shoes, standing barefoot, touching the earth, aligning yourself, getting grounded. Just sitting out there and just breathing in fresh air. This is what we're talking about when we talk about the underworld. We're talking about nature, going out and connecting through silence, through feeling the atmosphere, noticing the roots of trees and the branches, right? Imagining how far down the roots go, and imagining placing your roots, your energetic roots, down into the ground to go further than the roots of the tree, right? You may, in fact, right, have some of those experiences that we were talking about with the other world out here in nature. For those of you that are connected with the elementals, right, this is where you meet such spirits. And if there's anything that they have to communicate or give to share, this is where that happens. So for some of you, there may be a call to go out. There may be something that you will see when you go out, okay? Whatever it is could actually be liberating for you. And I feel like there is a calling for some of you, to crystals as well. This could actually help you to attune as well. That was part of the Hierophant, the breastplate that he had. There's certain crystals in particular, such as like tourmaline, jasper, agate that was mentioned. Carnelian is one of them too. Hematite, pyrite, and even gold. Those are high vibrational crystals that can actually help you to align with the frequency needed so that you can recognize what's going on and attune to it. And so for some, this could even be like an underworld location. Like, this feels like it's an underworld location. Like, for some of you that can't get to the nature, right? This could be like a random cave. It could be like under something like a subway or under a bridge, you know. It could literally be that. I don't know if you have a secret spot. It could point to needing to go there. Now, I'm not saying go find this. I'm saying for some of you that's already resonating, that may have a secret place like that. It's calling you to take time to go there. There's something that Spirit may want to show you. There's something that Spirit may want to show you that will connect with what we're talking about here, that will assist you in recognition of what's happening around you. But Spirit most definitely wants you to recognize this is not something to ignore. The fact that this higher level of seeing is being placed in front of you, I feel like, for who I'm talking to during this new moon. And the fact that it's being placed in front of you, Spirit wants you to recognize that and acknowledge it. Someone may very well be in denial, I'm feeling. Well, Spirit wants you to recognize it. There's something, I can't help but feel like there's something very significant about you being open to acknowledge it and recognize it. Okay, so, and I want to be clear. Let me be clear, because I stepped away for a second, and when I stepped away, Spirit said, clarify this. Someone may be thinking, when I say underworld, or when Spirit says underworld, that we're talking about this dark force or dark energies. That's not what this is by any means. This is the recognition that just like we are able to see everything here, if we turn that upside down, there's a opposite reality in the spirit, right? That's what we're talking about. It's attuning to the spiritual realm. And that's what we were talking about when we pulled out otherworld. We're talking about acknowledging that there are definitely other dimensions of perspective that are very much real. And so I just wanted to clarify that, okay? For whoever asked that question, I could hear it. And so Spirit wanted me to clarify that. This is not about dark forces, it's dark energies. We're talking about spiritual things, okay? Which are just as real as physical things, if not more, because it is the spiritual that actually causes the physical to be what it is. Let's not mistake anything about that, okay? Everything in the physical has been shaped by the spiritual, okay? So I have the 9 of Swords. And along with the Nine of Swords, I have return with the cute little doggy there. Return. Okay. And so I definitely for those that do feel as if they are in a moment of, you know, having that deeper knowing that there's something more that's calling, not sure what it could be. There is a process here, Spirit is saying. And that process very much has to do with transformation. It has to do with dying to old things so that we can be awakened to new things. And so when we look at the Nine of Swords, this really is, if we're open to what Spirit is showing us through this new moon, it's going to lead us into that process, into that transformation. And I have to warn you, Spirit is not saying this is something that's going to be, you know, flowers and butterflies. No, this is definitely some real stuff that we're talking about here. The 9 talks about coming to an end of self, coming to an end of something, right? And being ready to transition into new beginnings with the 10. And we talk about swords, we're talking about ways of thinking. In this card particular, in this deck, this represents Venus and Gemini, but it also represents the dark night of the soul. Okay? That's a scary concept for a lot of people, but it's not really. If we understand, you know, the support that we have, which that's all we've been talking about here, is the support that we have through these processes in life as we're making transitions from lower levels of energy to higher levels of consciousness. There's a definitely processes that take place during that transformation, and this is one of them. Okay, so what the new moon is offering is this entrance into this higher level of existence, this higher level of knowing through the process of the dark night of the soul. And so this is where this is leading for someone. And this is a time where you may feel, as you definitely recognize and open up to this truth that there is something greater, right? That you recognize and you now know that this is definitely real. It's true, right? There's a process that will happen through that where it feels very, where you feel very vulnerable. You may even come into a time, the dark night of the soul is a process where you actually are almost feeling like you're brought into a level of weighing of the balances of your heart, right? And in many ways, it could feel like you're even being brought into a level of judgment, right? Going through the dark night of the soul may bring up, you know, feelings of guilt and worry and anxiety and even sorrow and suffering. It may feel a bit torturous as well, and kind of placing you in this position of solitude for a while and isolation as you are dealing with your inner demons, right, that have haunted you through fear and doubt, right? And it's those things that cause the emotional pain and anguish. So there's a level of confrontation that happens with the dark night of the soul, of the things that you fear the most. It's coming face to face with those things. And the Nine of Swords is the epitome of the dark night of the soul. And so for someone, this new moon could be ushering you this way. But it's not really something to be afraid of. It is a process. It's a difficult process that we all go through before reaching enlightenment, right? Before you go up, inevitably you have to go down. And the key to the Nine of Swords is really to recognize, to confront. And it's almost like the art of working through your pain. Whether that's through, a lot of people like to call it shadow work, through meditation. It could be through some type of spiritual guidance or counseling. It could even be through prayer, you know, but it's a shift of energy. So that, yes, we will work with, we will acknowledge the painful energy, but it also opens up so that that painful energy can pass through. And I feel like Spirit wants you to know, guiding through this, bringing this to this reading, that you are not alone. Like, we've all gone through it. Not all of us, but you're not alone. Many have gone through it. And the fact that you have been presented for this means that you have been connected. You've always been connected to the greater whole. It was about the wheel of fortune. It was about time, you know, destiny and fate, right? The time has come now. You know, and it's also understanding that you are part of the light. And that you, in fact, have a part to share in the overall sharing of light in the earth. But there's a process, like a purging, a cleansing, that we all go through. This new moon is bringing up this energy and directing you towards that path, towards that process. And this may bring to light that personal dungeon that you've created for yourself. It may point to negative actions or thoughts that you've suppressed or avoided, that's being brought back around, right? Because it's haunted you and it needs to be confronted and dealt with. These patterns or actions that have imprisoned you in some way and created like a web of circumstances for you. If you see that web in the back of her. Right? That keep you free to a certain level, but this keeps you free to a certain level, but not free the way that you were created to be. Not free to be able to pursue the calling that you've been given, whatever that could be. You may feel like you're only able to go so far and it always comes back around, right? This is where the mind and the ego gets tortured and feels imprisoned, almost like there's no escape. And our first instinct is to blame others, is to look around and look at our circumstances or our situation, you know, and say, this is why this is, you know. But that doesn't work. Only that lasts so long, right? And so Spirit has brought us to a place, and I say us because, again, you're not alone. We've all gone through this, where we're being brought to our knees and being made to face, our demons, so that we can be placed back on the path of love, back on the path of light. And it's through confronting these dark places that shifts us to higher consciousness. Yeah. And so this is what the new moon is bringing in, and it's beautiful. It's a promise of something beautiful, of liberation. And it speaks to this collective pain that we've been experiencing as the world. It's a world level of pain and suppression, especially now, more than ever. There's a heaviness right now. And it really does point as, being part of that universal collective, and how each person's experience adds to that. And so as every one person is liberated, that's being lifted little by little. Yeah. And so just looking at some of the symbolism in this picture, I'll let you see it again. So we obviously see the woman, being very lamentful, being brought to her knees. This is realizing, listen, something has got to give. I can't do this anymore. Being a prison in her own dungeon, right, of suffering, feeling like she's being tormented, right? And then we see the web again, symbolizing, this macrocosm of the universe and the microcosm of our lives, our personal lives. And again, we've seen this in each picture, except for the Hierophant. But each picture had some indication of moon energy. So if we look behind the swords here, and I'll show you here, there's 4 moons. You see that? And they're 4 different cycles. Looks like they're on that web tapestry. And so, and again, this is pointing to life and the ever-changing cycles of life. And this is just a reminder or indication that this season will not last long. It's necessary because it's a natural part of life and the evolution happening around you and for you. But it won't last forever. It's passing. It's purposeful. Yeah. And then the 9 swords, obviously, swords represent mental energy, right? And it's just a reminder that sometimes we can block ourselves from the connection with the divine. See that? Sometimes we can do that. We can block ourselves from the connection of the divine. Each of these swords actually are in opposition to the one next to it, showing this mental opposition of, this torture happening in the mind. Right? It could also be like symbolism of an opportunity for her to climb up the swords and actually go out of the window. I feel like that could be possibly part of what's being displayed here as well. An opportunity to escape the mental anguish. And it's hard to see, but there's a little spider that's crawling down right here. You see that? Right here. Let's see if we can, there we go. Right there. And that little spider is descending down from the top right, just to kind of check to see if anything has been caught in its web, right? It's coming down to see. For some of us, spiders can cause fear, but spiders also represent creativity, if you didn't know that, and the ability to really weave your destiny. Spiders have also been known to be a symbol of wealth, right? Or prosperity. But in this case, it is a symbol of being able to weave your destiny. And we see a picture of a white butterfly, which butterflies represent transformation. The color white is purity. And it escaped the spider's web, and it's actually ascending towards the open window. Being freed from entrapment. Now on the bottom, there's so many just little nuances in this picture. We see a little mouse at the bottom. See that right here? Now that little mouse symbolizes inner faith and courage, and it's facing her. It also symbolizes vision and the ability to move beyond blocks and suffering of the small world. That is a reminder, that mouse is a reminder to be conscious of every step that we take, every single step, because we are in fact helping to weave our destiny. And then for our oracle card, we have return. I think this little dog is so cute. Look, so inviting. And with return, it is again talking about cycles. The human life is a series of cycles. And it's not linear, right? But they're more like spirals, looping back around to possibly places that we've been before. And so this Nine of Swords is going to be very familiar. This dark night of the soul, again, as I was saying, it's going to bring up things. It's going to help us to face our demons or things that we've shoved down and we didn't really want to acknowledge or face. That's what this card is representing, but it's a very beautiful depiction of what that is, though. So I feel like it's asking to examine our perspective around this, because what feels bad is not always bad. It's not always bad. And so there's something that could be revisiting, something that's going to feel very familiar with this dark night of the soul, this Nine of Swords energy. It'll be returning and showing back up in your life. This could come back in the form of a specific relationship, a location, maybe a career, some intention or aim that you had. It's going to feel very familiar. And it's going to remind you of things or experiences of the past. But this time there's going to be purpose behind it coming back up, right? You'll be stepping back into the same river, but it'll be changed. You never step back into the same river twice. When you step back in this time, it's going to be deeper. The flow of the water is going to be different. It's going to feel different. And so there could be experiences that come up that cause grieving, or this may be something that's already happening. It may be breaking your heart, or it may be dealing with loss. I feel like you could have already begun this process, right? And with that, you already recognize and are actually coming back to yourself already, possibly. Some of you may have already withdrawn in ways to access and, to meditate and to really hone in and consider what should be the next move. And when you return back, right, to the normal pattern of doing things, like it'll be with clarity and more certainty than before when you come back, when you return back to step back into life as you know it. This might be a good time to even plan a trip back to your hometown, or visit an old stomping ground, a time in your life that was very significant or pivotal for you. There may be a long lost friend or a partner that comes back into your life. Whatever is returning in the midst of all this, Spirit is saying be receptive of it, because the experience this time is going to be different. Through this process, it's going to be different. And this time it's going to be beneficial. So be curious, be open, and be prepared to engage, okay? Yeah. And then understand too that you are safe. Like the world is your oyster. The world is your home. So feel at home in the world. These places of comfort that you have grown to know is not an illusion. It's something that is there. It's been placed there for you. And so there is a level of comfort that you are being guided to grow in the physical world. Take off your shoes, touch the earth, connect, ground, understand that you are protected. Start rebuilding, if necessary, your foundations from sure sources of you replanting those the familiarity with places that you trust, that brings a level of comfort for you, right? Start getting rooted and grounded in your root chakra, in the base chakra, by grounding and allowing yourself to feel safe and at home and a sense of belonging. You get to create that, okay? And you deserve that. You deserve to feel safe in your life. There is a place where you belong. And Spirit wants to bring that to you through this process. And again, that's just the beginning. Like, this is just preparing you for what is to come. And so this new moon is definitely going to be very interesting for someone. I'm going to definitely leave it there. Now, if this has resonated and you would like to know more, or you want to dig in deeper personally for yourself, you may need guidance as you go into this energy with the full moon. There is a link in my description where my calendar is. You can definitely click on that calendar. I'd be more than happy to schedule a one-on-one with you. Like, share, comment. If this is your first time stopping by, please subscribe. I would appreciate that. And hit the bell so that you are notified whenever a new video comes out, whenever I post new content, or whenever I go live, right? Hit the bell so that you're notified, okay? Again, my name is LettiSpeaks. It has been a pleasure to bring in information that's coming to us through this new moon. Very interesting information. I'm excited, right? As I said, my energy was actually coming in before this new moon came in, and so this definitely hits home for me. It resonates, and I think I might have jumped the gun, but this is very good stuff, and so I'm excited about this new moon. And so I hope I have shared something that resonated, that brings a level of clarity for you, that stretches you mostly, right? I feel like that's what Spirit is wanting to do, to stretch us into our future. And so thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Letty. Thank you for gracing my channel with your presence. LettiSpeaks Tarot. Until our next reading, take care of yourselves. All right. Bye.